Oklahoma City Thunder select Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga University.
What a pass. Giddy underneath for JRE. The reverse and the rookie-to-rookie action. SGA defended closely by Westbrook. Tough. Step back. Gets up the shot. Banks it in for the lead.
This is Udart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested podcast. We're coming to you live on Sunday, July 31st. We're brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network and DailyThunder.com. And I am your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. We've got my guy, JD Silva here.
Fellas.
We've got Taylor Peterson.
So these days, I typically, while I'm podcasting, pull up the baby cam and was like, what is that background going on? Like, what's that background noise? And whoever's on the podcast, and turns out it was a baby cam.
Was it just the camera or was it the baby?
Oh, no, it was the, we have a little sound machine thing in the background. It's really peaceful. You guys
like
want to
white
hear?
noise? Yeah.
Very peaceful.
That's peaceful. It sounds like I'm in a horror movie and the aliens are about to get me.
Yeah, it's like
Your kid's gonna grow up.
Look at this thing.
It's like
it looks like an alien right now.
It's like Poltergeist, and when like the TV's just on static.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Exactly.
Me the
Stranger Things, like where like 11 has to put on the static, or like the Run of the Water. Yeah.
Yep. That last voice you heard, we have Kamiar Marabian live with us, fresh off of a 1-year-old's birthday party.
Dude,
not your 1-year-old. Just so the listeners know.
Please God. Yeah, no, I'm not ready. No, what's interesting is that my birthday is the first in the summer in my family. Like, I'm July 3rd, so I'm right before July 4th, right? And then like at the very end of July into August, we get hit with like my credit card bill goes up because now it's my niece's birthday, it's my sister's birthday, and then 2 days later on August 1st, which will be Monday, tomorrow, is my mom's birthday. And
Goodness.
like
bang, bang, bang.
I have adult money that I don't have the excuse that I'm broke really, because I don't have kids, I have dogs. So and it's
those
just
things
me,
are still expensive.
Just
me
and my wife. Like they may be my children, but they're a lot less, maintenance. So I'm just chilling.
Yeah. I miss those excuses when I was like 19 or 20 in college. You'd be like, sorry, can't buy the 5-year-old birthday present. I can't afford it.
Bro.
But I showed
as
up.
a 32-year-old. I can't do that anymore.
But like I bought my mom Shania Twain tickets because she loves country music. Yeah. Like I did that last year. And so I think that makes up for like maybe like roughly 5 to 6 years of birthdays. Yeah.
That's a good present.
Taylor, when is your birthday?
Mine is January 4th.
Oh, wow.
You get yours right after New Year's.
4 days away from being a 94 baby.
Growing up, did you ever get like
the
short
family
end of
gatherings?
The stick? Because
we went to Christmas, and that's when I got my Christmas presents and my birthday present.
Yeah.
However, my parents
my sister's birthday is Christmas Eve, and she was like, I thought I didn't realize how bad she got boned on presents.
Yeah, because like if it's in Call Me or Nike, Silva, when's your birthday?
June 29th.
Okay, so all three of us are summer babies. Yeah. So like when we were growing up, it's like you get all your Christmas presents and then you get reloaded in the summer
6 months later. That's
but
perfect.
if you're like Taylor, where your birthday's right at Christmas, instead of getting like double presents, you only get like 1.5 times. Like you get a little shafted because you can't bankrupt the family at Christmas.
So kind of like Call Me Our Sister. My sister is December 23rd. 2 days before.
Man, that's tough. Yeah, we were always
Hayden's February 1st, so like
we were all
further out
in the van on the way to Grandma's house on Christmas Eve. So like she spent her birthday in a van going to Wichita, Kansas, and then told like maybe you get to pick one Christmas present as your birthday present. I was I grew up and realized that, and I was like, man, you really got screwed. Yeah.
This was the first birthday I had where I was like, you know what? This is actually not a good thing ananymore because I'm one step closer to 30. And so I was like, hey,
Hey, chill. Cool.
I was
Pump
like-
the brakes.
Yeah,
Pump the
pump the
brakes.
brakes there.
I was
Chill,
like, hey,
chill.
can we just like kind of just like show up at your house to my mom on 4th of July and you can just like give me a cupcake and we'll call it good.
We'll call it good.
It's like
Like-
4 days later.
Hey, growing
Can I
up,
just have some
being a
cash?
kid with a summer birthday was awesome, though. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had pool parties and stuff a lot as a
Oh,
kid.
yeah.
But the good news is, like, now we have new reasons to look forward to summer. Is that NCAA football video game is coming back next summer, and like that was my one thing I could count on for the summer, especially after like media days, and it's back a year from today, and I'm really excited.
That'll be awesome. I love it. All right, gentlemen, there's like literally nothing happening in the NBA right now. With
Other
the
than
excep-
Pro-Am,
Well,
boy,
we can overreact to Pro-Am. I feel like as
can.
an NBA podcast, we should acknowledge the passing of Bill Russell today. Bill Russell, obviously awesome player. I think even more importantly, an awesome human and civil rights leader. I read some really cool stories about Russell today that I had not previously heard, about him just unabashedly always being himself and always being like true to his morals and his ethics and his beliefs. Awesome guy. NBA community is going to miss him dearly. I think back to, I forget what award he got at whenever the NBA was still doing the award show a few years ago, where he pointed
Where he
at
called out Shaq.
Chuck and
Chuck,
Shaq and
yeah.
Mutombo and said, "I'd kick all of your asses."
Yeah.
Still today.
Yeah, just awesome
All-time
dude
great.
up until the end, and the NBA community will miss him greatly.
Didn't he
I
flip
listen-
off Charles once?
Yes,
Yeah,
he
well,
did.
yeah.
What,
When he was
that.
in the
Flipped off a
crowd.
lot of
Living my
people.
dream.
Same,
Yeah.
pretty
Love
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
Love that.
That was going to be my intro before I realized that my baby monitor was playing through my phone and into the microphone. So but I did listen to some pretty cool. There was a couple different podcasts who paid tribute or like played some old segments for just some stories about him. I thought it was really cool and touching, and what an incredible player, both on and off the floor. I think is what really stood out to me the most.
Yeah, he's a dude that used his platform as a player to accentuate like things that he saw were injustices at the time, and so
Still are today.
and it's still being used today. So there was nobody telling him to shut up and dribble though, publicly. So that's just the thing, and he stayed true to that. And of course, the NBA community will miss him dearly. He was an important figure, not just in Celtics history and everybody else, but like the NBA community in general.
Yeah. Well, they weren't telling him to shut up and dribble on a TV show on ESPN like First Take or whatever, but they were going in his house and burning things and breaking into things. And I think I heard today, lots of other terrible things in that same break-in. It's pretty incredible what he overcame, the perspective he still had, just on life in general. It was very inspiring to me.
Very much so. Hey, you guys keep getting questions, comments in the chat. We're going to visit those at the end of the show.
Oh
But
boy,
two
we got
call me
any
ours.
Instagram.
Yeah. To Kamiar's first point, let's talk about some Pro-Am basketball. The crossover, which every time I read it, just, I don't know, just Silva mentioned it pre-pod. Reading it makes me
Crawdad.
think of a crawdad.
Yes, I kept on thinking the same thing. I was like
Man,
especially like
down them-
especially going to Louisiana, like I keep on thinking about crawdads. It's freaking
Down
me
them
out.
creeks in Owasso,
Yeah.
we did lots of crawdad
Would this be a
hunting.
good time to ask what the difference between a crawfish and a crawdad is, or are they the same
or
thing?
The
crayfish.
dad,
You
the,
would
craw,
know.
the crawdad is the dad of the crawfish. It's
Okay.
very spelled out for you, Silva. I don't
I
know what
just-
else you want.
I'll put it this way: you would not want to eat a crawdad. You would want to eat a crawfish.
Okay.
I just know
Crawdads are in
that,
the pond. Crawfish are in
Okay.
like the rivers.
like when I was in Louisiana, because of course, like that they have a ton of those things down there, and that's also kind of
Yep.
the culture, right? The Cajuns, like everywhere, even like you going into supermarkets, you see like all kinds of like these crawfish broils or whatever crawdads. I don't know what the heck they are. The red ones.
I
They
just want to
like
know
you
where the crawl mom's
see
at.
them with like potatoes and corn and all that stuff. Like they're just like hanging outside of supermarkets, just selling that stuff and like on the streets. It's
Yeah.
on the regular. It's wild. It's weird down there.
The word crawdad coming up a lot in my life recently. I went and watched Nope again a couple days ago, and there's a poster
haven't
for a
seen
movie
it
that's
yet.
out. There's a poster for a movie that's out right now called "Where the Crawdads Sing." So
Oh yeah, I saw the trailer for that. Nope is really good, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
You guys should definitely go see it.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess crawfish are growing up in single family households.
There's no
it's
crawl mom.
unfortunate, and that's why they
That's
What's
what
get
it-
eaten.
that joke, I'm sorry.
what's the TikTok person that had oh Silva, you're gonna have to help me out here. You're the only other one that probably will know this. Although Call Me is on occasionally.
I hope we have no new listeners on this episode because we're 11 minutes in. They're just like, "What the hell is
we
this?"
have not talked
What
a
are these
single
assholes
lick
talking
of Thunder
about?
basketball. But there's the crawfish boil guy who had Anthony Davis on. He's like known for something, and I can't remember his like.
I'm
I'll
on a
find it.
really
Anyways,
weird side of
let's jump
TikTok
into some
now.
Thunder basketball, and then midway, I'm just
yeah.
gonna pull this sounder.
All right, so let's talk about the crossover, the Seattle Pro-Am, hosted by Jamal Crawford. Turns out they had 3 big-time NBA guys up there. Well, maybe not NBA guys yet, but Chet Holmgren, Paulo Banchero, and then Jaden McDaniels from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Chet's final line from a single Pro-Am game. I have it right here. It is 34 points, 13 rebounds, 8 blocks, and 4 steals. How much does a Pro-Am game really matter, gentlemen?
Well, Jaden McDaniels scored 50. So I think looking at that line on its own, not a lot. Not a lot at all.
I mean, the last time a Thunder player who formerly played in Seattle, who was 7 foot, put up numbers like that in Seattle, Thunder ended up pretty good. So I think it says a
Oh,
lot.
hell yes. We got Taylor making KD comps after a Pro-Am game.
I think
Goddamn right.
I think it was interesting because it showed you, especially because like I think a lot of us were specifically just looking at Chet and Paolo,
Paolo.
right? I think pretty much those were the major 2 guys everybody's looking at. They're both the big guys on the same team, which Paulo went ISO and looked off Chet while he was wide open for a dunk several times. And I was like, okay, bro, whatever, get your buckets. But I think it accentuated how different both of their games are, and how different they are affecting their teams. Like you can tell that Paulo's the most NBA ready. That's what's been known. But you can also see the amount of skills that Chet is already able to pull off. But you also saw Chet, despite him and Paulo playing the majority of the game, you saw him really wear down a lot faster than other bigger guys on the court. And so, like, I think that's going to be a conditioning thing for him, his getting his body NBA ready, or maybe just a minutes thing in the NBA, which I thought was interesting. But again, he ran and blocked a ton of shots for 45
Can you imagine
minutes.
being the poor son of a gun that's running at Seattle Pro-Am, who maybe like played Division II hoops,
Yeah.
and then you're just out there getting your stuff thrown to the 5th row by Chet Holmgren?
You
Well,
don't even know
I had to
it
check the
until
stat
night
line.
before. Well, I was gonna say, Kamiar brought that up he was the one who brought that up in our Slack. He was like,
I was like, is
I
this
had
a
a look
triple
and see
double?
if he had a
got
triple double
close.
with blocks, and he did. He was 2 blocks away from a triple
Yeah.
double.
And
Although
that didn't mean he didn't alter so many more shots.
Right. I think you bring up a really, really good point, Kamiar, and in the sense of like the different styles of play between obviously Paolo and Chet. Now, granted, I think Paolo's much better of a distributor than he showcased at this, lack of a better term, showcase Pro AM. But regardless, like Chet is somebody who can impact the floor on so many different ways on both ends of the floor, and that is really exciting. Obviously we expected him to dominate. He was able to.
Yeah.
We expected Paolo to be able to dominate. He was able to, which is good. That's what you want to see. Like, obviously shows that these guys are very talented when they're playing against other. I mean, these guys aren't like scrubs, but they also aren't NBA ready defenders. But regardless, to see Chet be able to display some of those skills, where he's kind of thrown almost like summer league in a role where we won't see him necessarily with the Thunder very often. Like, it's great to be able to see him hit some of those step back threes. See that stroke looks so great. Just more excitement, I think, heading into the season.
It also just like reaffirmed my thoughts that he's really going to have to tighten that handle on the ball.
Very much so, especially in transition.
He has such a unique style of play that I think regardless of where you watch him at, a pro-am game where they're just all messing around, a summer league game where they're really trying to see what he can do, a game at Gonzaga, a high school game, a Team USA game, whatever. Like, part of it is he's so moldable and he can fill whatever role you really need him to fill. I mean, I go back to his time at Gonzaga again, where he played with a second big on the court and really wasn't an offensive focal point at all, right? But he was still able to thrive. And then you throw him on Team USA, where he was an offensive focal point and he can thrive in that situation as well. But just his uniqueness and his versatility, his ability to fit in any role needed, I think that just shines regardless of what style of basketball game he is playing in. And that's one of the things that jumped out to me.
Yeah, his talent level as a whole really popped at the Pro-Am, even next to guys like Paolo. It just reiterated that I'm just like so excited to watch him play basketball again. I had a blast watching him in every single summer league game that he played. So even if he wasn't stuffing the stat sheet, it's like just watching what he's capable of physically is exciting for the future. So yeah, I was fortunate I didn't know this was going to be live until like the day of, basically. I don't know if many people did.
Yeah, it was like this was like the night before.
Yeah, it was a nice little morsel of content for us. And
maybe even like another conversation to get into. And like, I saw some people tweet about this, which I think is accurate. You know, outside the lockout season, where KD just did like his world tour, his national tour of pickup games and flag football at OSU. We haven't really seen a lot of Thunder players obviously playing in games like that. The other thing, to your point, Silva, that we're seeing is not just specifically to the Thunder, but the league as a whole streaming Drew League games this year with starting with LeBron and DeRozan, continuing that, you know, I think that was 2 weekends ago, continuing that since then. Now, you know, having two of their young up and coming, hopefully stars, and Chet and Paolo playing in this Pro AM and streaming that as well. Like, this is a new step for the NBA also. So I think that's important. That's definitely a change. And most importantly, I think, you know, I'm curious your guys' thoughts, but I think this is a way for the NBA to kind of capitalize on the quote unquote dead season of the NBA by kind of streamlining these guys playing in these pickups.
That, and I think I brought this up, or maybe I was just thinking about it and never said anything, but like, what iteration of the Thunder is this? Like, now, of course, the cameras were going to be there because Chet and Paolo were gonna be there, and typically you would never have seen really an OKC player going there in the first place, like for the longest time, but it's just so what OKC is doing, especially I love the Instagram picture of Paolo and Chet right after the game showing off their jewelry. Like, Chet has like a little bit of like drip, you know, in his dice, and then
little bracelets.
Paolo's chain is like just overwhelmingly huge. But what OKC Thunder management is allowing the players to do, like, publicly and be outward with like themselves, instead of like what people expected in the earlier days when Katie just had a backpack on and Russ was just hanging out and not dressing flashy. It's such a departure from that, in that they're able to be more like themselves, I suppose, in the media.
Declaring themselves in the off season.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. The only other thing that I really took away from what Chet did on that court last night, yesterday afternoon, whatever, his offensive touch, like, I think he's I've never met the kid before, right? But by listening to him talk about basketball and watching how he plays basketball, I think he just has such a great understanding of who he is and what he is. Like, I have yet to see this man like actively like tried to put his back to the basket and really like push somebody around and get to the rim and dunk it. Like we saw it a ton in summer league. We saw it
Mhm.
like 5 times yesterday. He loves to do the little Dirk high knee fadeaway. That way a defender can't get into his chest because his knee is there. Like he understands I'm not going to go through guys. So I'm just going to have like this beautiful looking jump shot where I'll just go over the top and shoot over the top of guys.
Shoot over anybody.
It's kind of Kevin Durant-ish in the approach to, especially early on, how he gets his offense going. Funny enough, last night I was listening to our podcast from the night of the NBA draft, and Kamiar brought up multiple times the quote where Chet Holmgren said he wants to be a 50-40-90 guy. And I just think some of the looks he gets, some of the shots he creates for himself, the jumper is just so smooth and so pretty. And that's one of the things I noticed again yesterday. Like he's hitting these behind the back, like snatch back threes at 7'1". I'm just like, man, like this kid like might actually get there one day to the 50-40-90 club. And if you've got a 7'1" rim protecting center who can be 50-40-90, like you've got, we overuse the term, but you've got a unicorn. You've got something that just like doesn't really exist in the NBA right now.
And that's kind of the fun thought that I've had as well, is like bringing up what you just mentioned, Jacob, his efficiency. And we saw that specifically with how he played at Gonzaga. And like, you know, I know Jacob, you and I, we've been talking about Chet for a long time now on this podcast, dating back to like last fall even. And a lot of the things that we mentioned was like, yeah, but look at what he did with his AAU team. Look at what he did with his high school team, the team that played against Amani and his high school team, where Chet is the main initiator and he's pushing the ball down the floor. And we see him handle it a little more, push the ball in transition. We're going to see a little bit of a mix of those two roles, I think. His NBA role with the Thunder. But I do think he'll be a little more reserved than what we've seen in like Summer League and with this Pro AM. So we'll see a more efficient Chet, which to your point, like that is very exciting, with an opportunity to continue to expand and develop and become a little more dominant on ball.
So I think this conversation, did you have anything else?
Yeah, I just like that Chet is very aware of how good he is and is very confident in his abilities. Like he
on and off the court, to your point.
He wears it on his shoulders and his sleeves. Like the
And
dude
his
knows
neck.
he's good. Yeah. The dude knows he's good. And I have very much respect for him for that. But I think because he was like the number 2 pick and is obviously like one of the most talked about rookies among a few, that Northwest division, those guys are going to come after him.
When you think of who he's got to match up with in the Northwest, when Denver, you've got Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic at the front court, Minnesota's new front court of Gobert and Cat. I mean, I guess Portland has Nurk, who is a bully, Jeremy Grant. Jazz got nothing.
Yeah, Jazz got nothing. Jazz is like the only one off, right?
Yeah. He's going to be happy when he plays the Utah Jazz. Well, speaking of Chet, I think leads us really well into this next thing that I wanted to chat about. So I want us to lead us into this. I'm struggling to try to find content. My thought was a lot of people right now are saying like, oh, OKC needs one more good draft pick in 2023. If they can get a top 10 guy in 2023, then they are on the way, and it's like pushing the pedal to the floor from that point. And not that I disagree with that, because I don't. Like, if you have a chance to get a top 10 guy in a loaded 2023 class, you do it. But I was considering, what if the Thunder already have that guy? Right? What if like we're all thinking they need one more piece? What if they have the piece and the piece just hasn't popped yet? And so that got me down this rabbit hole of thinking. And I wanted to, on this episode tonight, I wanted us to think about, let's say we were told right now from someone from the future that the Thunder will be in the play-in game next April. Who are 3 or 4 young guys that we think have to really step up in order for OKC to get to that point? And what specifically do they need to be able to do?
Who are you classifying as a young guy?
Like,
This entire
second,
team is young
They're all
guys.
young, to your point.
very,
but-
very fair point. I'm not thinking about guys like Shea and Lou. I'm
Okay.
thinking like second-year guys,
Kenrich and Muscala are out.
rookies, maybe a third-year guy, maybe like if you want to throw someone like Poku in there,
Right.
Okay.
things like that. So
So
I wanted to see,
basically people under the age of like 24 and Lou.
yes, maybe even under the age of like 22. Like,
Okay.
so who are a few guys that you think these are the guys that would really have to pop in order for OKC to make the push this year? And what specifically do we need to see from them for them to pop? And I guess to try to help you guys out a little bit with this exercise, I will start. And for me, that guy is J-Dub, Jalen Williams.
That was going to be my answer. I
I
agree.
think if the Thunder were to push forward drastically this year, J-Dub would really have to pop. And when I say he would have to pop, I think he's going to be your 6th or 7th man off the bench.
Yeah, by the end of the year, who do you think gets more minutes, Trey Mann or Jalen?
It's a good question.
It's a really good question.
Actually, is that in your next segment? That might actually be in your.
Something
don't
close
think
to that.
It's not that. It's really close to
Okay.
that. But
It's a really good question.
like, let me give you a stat line. Like, would this be quote unquote popping off the page for J-Dub in his rookie year? He plays 76 games, shoots 40% from the field, 37% from 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal, averages 10 points a game. If that was his stat line at the end of the season, has he overachieved in your books or underachieved in your books?
Overachieved, but he's not like putting up ridiculous numbers. I think those shooting percentages are pretty astronomical for a rookie season, but only 10 points a game would lead me to believe those are on pretty limited attempts, which to that point, like his role with this team, at least his rookie year, is going to be on limited attempts, right?
Yeah.
And
so
I think
that
he'll be able
stat
to
line I
impact the
just read
game.
you, Taylor, that's on 7.6 field goal attempts a game.
Okay.
3.3 3-point attempts a game.
That feels pretty accurate for his rookie season in terms of attempts. Yeah.
Silva, what do you think? If J-Dub hits 10 points, 2.5 rebounds, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, shoots 40% from the field, 37% from 3.
I think we would all be having conversations about how we wished there was more volume to his scoring. I think we would see some missed opportunities there. Like, I'd be happy with that, especially for his rookie season. But if you want to make a leap like that and get to the play-in game, I do think that. Oh,
what are you doing?
whoa.
What's going on?
There we go.
I don't know. No, I think if you want to make a leap like that, and you need a lot more from your bench specifically, because I think the Thunder's biggest weakness this season is going to be their offensive production. We're just trying to move on beyond that.
I just wanted everybody to see me. So your point is irrelevant. I make the rules.
No, yeah, my thought with this exercise in general, my thoughts kind of first went to the bench. I think Thunder's defense at large is going to be great, but I think the offense is going to struggle, especially when it comes to the bench. I think Trey Mann and J-Dub were the two guys I thought of right away. Like, if they can really sustain the offense whenever Shea specifically is not on the court, that could really help. And I think if those guys could average like 12 to 14 each, that would be popping.
I would say that if J-Dub did that, he would be overachieving. I think those splits that you would have him shooting at would be outrageous, and we would at the end of the year be like, why was he not playing more and getting more shot opportunities? I'm expecting him to go between 6 to 7 points per game, just because it's a rookie season. It's hard to play in the NBA. There's some things he's got to work on, but he's going to be on the court because he does have great defensive ability.
There's a lot of mouths to feed on this team as well.
Totally.
Yeah, and so that's my thing. And I know Trey Mann's going to try to go ISO a few times, do some step backs, and do his thing as well. And so you can only share the rock with so many players that you're trying to fill that can score and pass. And so I would suggest that would be very popping, especially for a rookie season. And he would have overachieved.
If that was his stat line, Kamiar, would you think that there's a chance they're pushing towards a play-in spot?
If that was the chance, I would say Lou Dort becomes immediately expendable, and yes, probably.
Interesting. Either of you guys want to take a guess? You probably have already deciphered it, but want to take a guess at whose rookie stats those are that I read off?
I'm guessing Trey Mann. No?
It is not Trey.
No. Are they a Thunder player?
Were they a Thunder player
I
at
don't
the
know if I want
time?
to tell you that information.
Is it Shea? With the
That
Clippers?
is James Harden's rookie stat line.
Okay.
Yeah, I figured that makes sense because I was about to say, I mean, like everybody's very high on him right now. It wouldn't with those shooting percentages, and then they just got the shot doctor on the team. What if there is like a legit like James Harden situation once again, but that wouldn't happen a second time. I of course nobody on this podcast is crowning J-Dub as James Harden right now. Like that needs to be said clear. But that mistake wouldn't be made twice. They would likely trade Lou if he would not accept the bench role.
If J-Dub popped like that, that would be
of course
that's massive.
That's like that's a few years down the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
not
not
likely.
that's not even
if
close.
that's his rookie stat line, like I am feeling even better about J-Dub than I am right now.
Yeah.
So you guys, we picked J-Dub, excuse me, as number one.
Nice.
Who's the next player that would have to quote unquote pop for this team to really make a push next year?
I say JRE.
Interesting.
That is super interesting.
I say JRE strictly because he's a guy, again, that the team looks to as a leader along with Shea. I think he has a lot of young faces in that room, especially at the top. And, of course, he's got awesome guys and Derek Favors and Mike Muscala, but he's a guy that is going to be playing on the court, so he needs to be having those conversations and stuff like that. And coming again from Villanova with the J. Wright team, he's a guy that takes a lot of responsibility. Specifically sought out Draymond Green to work out with him, get tips from him on how to lead and how to be a specific type of player. His defense getting right. We all noticed he got slimmer, but that doesn't mean he didn't get stronger. That needs to be noted. His shot going down looked really nice in Summer League, but that's Summer League. And so his IQ, his passing, if he really shoots off something to like 12 points per game, like what? If I said Jeremiah Robinson Earl gave you 12 and 6 a game, would you say you were satisfied?
I'm feeling really good about that.
Like 12, 6 and 1.
Yeah, especially like the 6 rebounds doesn't scare me at all because Josh can rebound the shit out of the ball.
Exactly.
Shea can rebound.
This entire team.
And you're adding 7-1
Yeah.
Chet to this
Exactly.
team.
Yeah, the team's not built for one guy to get a bunch of rebounds. It's just grab it and go.
Yeah. It's not your Thunder team of the past.
Or even if you like scored like 9, 8, and 3, like that's the kind of player and team that Presti's assembling.
2 things that I noticed from him in Summer League, Kamiar, that have me excited. I'm on record on the show that I think JRE starts from day one this season next to Chet. Their stroke, the physicality, and he had a lot of like off-ball cuts. He was catching lobs in Summer League. I know it's Summer League, so I'm not worried about the competition. I'm worried about what he individually did. Like he looked like a dude that knows exactly who he is, exactly what he's going to do. He looked like a grown man out there is what he looked like. And that makes me very, very excited for what we could see from him next year. And if he's your 5th starter and he can give you 10, 11, 12 a night and shoot a really good percentage from 3 and just take a lot of threes, I'm feeling really happy about that. Do you guys have any guess on how many 3-point attempts he took last year per game?
Ooh,
2.5.
3. Yeah, that's exactly
I
what
was gonna say like 1.5.
He took 3.5 threes a game
Ooh,
last
Okay,
year.
cool.
And
I
I
would
think
love
that
for him to
number's going to
be-
go up.
Yeah, I would
I
love for
think-
him to evolve into this team's PJ Tucker.
see, I think
Yes,
I could
I
see
love that.
PJ Tucker, but
Al
how
Horford. See
how old
everyone's
how old is
commonly-
he right now?
PJ or
Jerry.
Jerry.
Jeremiah is 21 years, 270 days
Oh,
old.
wow.
He'll be
He's
22
actually younger than I
early
thought.
November.
Yeah, and so he'll be 22 in November. And so people like they knew he was in school a little bit longer, and they're like, I don't know, but he's actually not that old. He's younger
kinda
than
thought-
Shea, and
I thought he
Shea's
was older
Exactly.
than that.
Shea is like what, the sixth oldest player on the team, fifth oldest player on the team right now.
You
He's
know what?
old and he's
At
just turned
24?
24.
Yeah. Old.
Yeah.
Because Favors, Muscala, Kenrich. Who's after?
Shea. So you have Muscala at 30. Kenrich is 27.
Jeez.
Favors.
I feel
And
like Kenrich
then-
is
yeah,
30.
Favors.
Favors.
We assume he'll be gone.
Yeah.
Ty Jerome is also 24.
That's right.
He's a little bit older than Shea. Lindy's a little bit older than
Barely.
Shea. That's it. Isn't it crazy to think that we all believe they're going to buy out Derek Favors? Kenrich Williams is going to be the second oldest guy on this team at 27 years
wild.
old.
Yeah. He does not
Wild.
feel like he's 27 years old to me. at
Meek
all.
Leak said feeling
But
old yet, Taylor.
I-
And yes, as a
I am
27-year-old coming up on 28, I do feel old.
I'd be the
enjoy-
third oldest guy on the Thunder roster right now.
It's and Dan alluded to this on the podcast we did on Wednesday with him. I have no idea how OKC ends up re-signing these guys to these kinds of contracts. That is such a team-friendly contract. Like
Yeah.
that is chump change in this new
That
CBA.
dude is 27.
Like, what is
Yeah,
going
he's good.
on?
He's really
And
good.
he's really good.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Hey, so
Pretty
for what
nice.
it's worth on Basketball Reference,
Love you, Kenrich.
JRE's per 36 minutes last year shot 5.5 3-point attempts. They have his projection for next year right at the same amount. And last year, JRE shot, I told you he shot 3.5 threes a game. He shot 35%. If he can just stay at that clip at 35% and maybe take like one more three a game and be like a pick and pop type of guy,
Mhm.
like you've got something really, really nice. Do I
Yep.
think JRE is ever going to be an all-star? No. Is he ever going to, make an all defensive team or anything like that? No. But Silva, you mentioned like PJ Tucker. I
Grant
think
Williams.
he could end up being like, maybe more like a Grant Williams, like your big man, PJ
Mhm.
Tucker. Like he's going to
That's why
guard
I always think
Nikola
Al Horford,
Jokic.
just because Al was like on this team. But like,
Yeah.
I
And
agree.
he's very close to the same size as Al. Like he's going to guard the Jokic's, the Embiids.
How
and they're
tall
gonna
is
let-
he?
He's
6'8"?
6'9".
Oh, 6'9".
In my
6'9".
head, he's like a
very
little bit-
nice.
Okay, yeah, in my head, it's like he's gonna have a hard time guarding centers. But if he is 6'9" and like
Well,
strong,
we watched
then-
him guard those guys last year. He's
We
real
did.
strong. And last year we saw him switch out onto guards a lot and like get his ass like 6 inches off the ground and get that wide base with those arms out and really played good defense on guards.
That's Jay Wright.
Get
That's Jay Wright.
flexibility, baby.
Yep.
That's Villanova, bro.
That is
I
so
love
true.
it. So I think JRE is a really good one, Kamiar. And I think things that really have to pop for him is be the consistent guy he is, but just raise that level of consistency.
I wish
a
he
little
played
bit.
above the rim more. He has the ability to, especially with that new being more lean. He has the ability to play above the rim a little bit more. I just wish he wouldn't play below the rim like on the entire time. That could lead to some issues, I feel like.
Yeah. I'm hoping we see a little bit more of that this coming season.
Yep.
And being a little more aggressive at the cup, getting up, putting dunks down, maybe if he starts doing that, something will rub off onto Ousmane Dieng.
Something needs to be noted, by the way. I forgot to mention it about the Pro-Am and Chet. He took one dribble inside the 3-point line and one step inside the paint and made a dunk.
And it was like a double clutch, like an up
Yeah,
and under,
yeah.
and then
Holy
Yup.
crap.
That was from the top of the key, too.
That was fun.
Like 2 steps. Ooh.
That was fun.
Okay, so I know we probably need to move on to this segment. I have nothing to disagree with in regards to Jerry. I just think if we're talking about the Thunder being in a playoff spot come April, we probably should mention the low-hanging fruit, the obvious, the elephant in the room, Chet Holmgren obviously is going to have to play a big part in that, right? And the reason I say that is because Kamiar kind of transitioned us perfectly there with some of the things that he showcased. Kind of goes back to what I was saying, where he is obviously going to have a more limited role, not like we saw at Gonzaga, but in comparison to Summer League and in comparison to this single Pro AM game, obviously. But he's also going to have a little more freedom to explore his game. And if we are able to see him get mismatches, like see Day don't put him in the right positions where he's getting mismatches and is able to, score efficiently down low, like we've seen him be able to use to create his physical ability to create shot creation at an elite level, regardless of who is guarding him. Like you guys mentioned, just using that height to his advantage, being able to shoot over others. If he's able to perform at the level, like some of these quotes that we've seen about how the Thunder view him after drafting him, like there is a chance that the Thunder are in that play in game situation. But if they are, it's because Holmgren has found his way into that, like that 1B or that 2A role alongside Shea as the primary offensive scorer, I think, in my opinion, as well as continue to contribute on the defensive end, like we know he can.
So let me ask you guys this about Chet real quick. We just talked a lot about how he kind of knows who he is offensively. He likes to rise up over the top and shoot. When you take out the noise, the guys that played like 2 or 3 games or whatever, here is the list of Thunder players in order by 3-pointer attempts per game. Lou Dort is number 1 at 7.7 attempts a game, which is wild.
It's amazing.
If you want to consider Lindy Waters, he took 5.3 a game, or sorry, 5.8. Shea took 5.3. Trey Mann took 4.5. Ty Jerome and Darius Baisley and Josh Giddey all took 3.9. At the end of next season, where does Chet land on that list as far as 3-point attempts per game?
I think he averages, you threw that 3.9 number out there. I think he's averaging 4.
Yeah, I was going to say probably a little bit over 3.5.
Yeah, I was going to say between 3 and 4. After seeing, I think he should take more than that. But after seeing the way he went about Summer League, that's all we really have to go off of right now as far as being in the Thunder system. I think he doesn't want to force shots. And he would need to do that a bit more in order to take more than just the 4.
I'm going to be honest, and I might sound crazy.
Let it rip.
5 or 6.
You guys all said 3.5 to 4. I was going like 6.5 a game.
I would love that. I would
those
love
opportunities.
I think he's just going to run nonstop pick and pops.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Do you think it's because of his lack of physicality that he's going to bring to the NBA so he can be more of himself on the defensive end? Because he's going to have to save himself for one of those sides of the offense, right? Or for one of those sides of the game, because he is going to get worked when he's playing offense. If he's not spot up shooting or slip screens, etc., he's going to people are going to go at him just because, even being the number 2 pick, not just because he's so slight of frame while he's on defense. And so he's really got to pick his spots here or there where he needs to save energy, because we all know, like, you can, like, going 100% on both ends of the court is going to gas you so much,
especially as a rookie.
Especially as a
thin rookie.
Yeah, man. And like, you're having real, like, big men, like, and I'm talking like dudes that they weigh quite a bit, but it's not fat, it's muscle, and like you can hear it popping like when you're actually out on the court. And so to me, like, do you say that just because of his frame he's gonna have to dedicate certain, like, or allocate, I suppose, certain energies in certain places?
I think that's part of it. Yeah. I think not being down low offensively and like being physical down there and then going to the defensive end and doing the same thing. I also think it's just going to be a product of the way that Mark's going to want them to play.
And the players he's playing with Shea.
I think they're just going to say, if Chet shoots good from 3 and if JRE shoots good from 3, you can space those guys out, run pick and pops, and it's just an open lane to the basket for Shea and Josh. And then they have kickouts to guys. Like, I foresee just a metric shit ton of top of the key pick and pops. I see a ton of Chet like trail threes, like the Thunder get a stop, they start to push and transition, and Chet's like the last guy coming down the court and just walks into like a catch and shoot right at the top of the key, pull up three. Like I just see a lot of that coming this season. And maybe I'm completely wrong, but if he shot 6 threes a game, even if he only shot like 33% his rookie year, I would be very happy with that.
Would love to see some lobs.
Oh yeah, I think that'll be there
That
too.
too.
I think Kamiar, you mentioned the competitive aspect of this kid. I think he's going to run the floor and like try to dunk on people as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Not just shot block people. Well, we saw it, to your point, Kamiar, we saw an out of bounds play at the Pro AM where, you know,
That was
I don't even
very
know who that
fun.
dude was. Yeah, where he
in
just threw it up
inbounds
to him.
play. He just like the guy's like, I can't like I don't even know what his vertical is just because how big
so
and long
freakishly
he
long.
is. Like can he just like touch all of those like little sticks just like by standing because of
Probably.
like how tall and how long his arms
well,
are?
hell,
Like,
during a timeout at Summer League, Silva and I watched him walk over to the goal, stand flat footed, reach his hands up, and like tap his fingers on the bottom, like not like the flat part, the bottom of the backboard, but like he was up on the glass, like slapping it right below the
Jesus.
rim. Like his standing reach is like 9'9".
that
That's
could
like
be
Kamiar and Jacob
some-
and I at the gym on like the TRX things or whatever.
Yeah.
We're like stretching.
That could
We
be
still gotta
that could be
jump.
intimidating. That like because every time like he blocks somebody's shot, the entire crowd's like ah. Especially when he double-handed that one, I was like, "Oh, that
Yeah,
man!"
Those blocks
so,
they are not quiet. That's
His
one thing
arms are
about
just
Chet.
insane. Man.
Everything
so
is loud.
fun,
And that's
but
going to
yeah, no.
fire Thunder fans up.
Okay, so we talked about J-Dub, we talked about JRE, we talked about Chet. Silva, you're the only one that hasn't thrown out a player yet. So one more player for our, if the Thunder are going to make a push next year, this guy has to make a jump. This guy has to impress us.
Yeah.
Who is that guy?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned this guy earlier, so I'm not going to go too far into him. Trey Mann was the one I first thought of in kind of our bench offensive production, but I think I'm going to go Josh Giddey instead. Josh obviously had a good rookie season, did not shoot well from three at all, but he took him with confidence, which gives me confidence that if he could keep that mentality and start working with Chip, who's one of our bigger free agency signings as of late. I feel good about him going into next year, and I feel good about him still performing offensively, especially with the point you just made, Jacob, about the team having much better spacing with Chet out there. I feel good if Josh can average. I don't know how many points off the top of my head he averaged last season.
Last year he was 12.5 points, 8 rebounds, 6.5 assists.
Yeah, I mean, if he's averaging 16 to 18 points and those same rebound and assist numbers, I'm feeling really good.
Yeah, he shot 26% from three. He took 4 attempts a game. I'm not going to do the math right now, but if he could bump that up to 31% and take the same number of threes, like you're talking like a significant increase in what he does. He also only took 1.5 free throw attempts a game last year.
Yeah.
Kamiar has noted a lot, just how much like work he's put in on his body this summer, how much stronger he looks like he's gotten. I like that a lot. I think he took 10 free throws in 2 summer league games in Vegas. That's 5 free throw attempts a game. If he could bump that what I say 1.5 free throw attempts, if he could bump that up, if he could double that and get to 3, shooting a little bit better from 3, doubling your free throw attempts, there's
you're flirting with 15 a game
there.
right there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think Carrie mentioned this in our comments earlier. That Josh put a picture on Instagram up of him like laying shirtless in like a beach chair, and Trey Mann commented, "Chill, my grandma's on here."
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Josh's reply.
Hide your
Josh
wife,
said,
hide your grandma.
Josh replied and said, "Tell her my DMs are open."
I love him so much.
It's a fun team. It's a very fun team.
Oh, I love it. That's the other thing too. Like just exactly.
Yeah.
Just really quick. We won't dive in. I mean, there's obviously a lot of other names we could mention here, but in the chat, friend of the podcast, Meek League, he said Aaron Wiggins is looking during this session. He said Wiggins is looking bigger and stronger. Could be something happening there. Wiggins is a fun one. I think Jang's also a fun one. Obviously, if he can develop.
I think Wiggins is getting like legit rotation minutes to start the year. He really impressed me at Summer League.
Agreed.
He reminds me, he's like a mini JRE to me. Just knows what he does, knows who he is, and is going to give you consistency.
He's a role player. He knows his
Yes.
role, and he sticks to that. Like
Exactly. He
He's
doesn't.
like, I guard the wing. I'm gonna go to the 3-point corner. I'm gonna slide into the dunker spot, or I'm just gonna shoot the three. Those are my three things I need to worry about. That's it. And he's embraced that, and that's what a lot of players fail to do in their career until it's too late. Him embracing it early on. We saw it last year too. He's a guy that I think could garner some trade assets if you really wanted him to, especially if you gave him I don't know how many minutes would you expect him to play this year?
That's what's interesting.
Because question.
Because the front court is not overloaded. The back court has a lot of guys that can play.
He's probably your 10th or 11th man.
Yeah, that's tough.
Do you think, would that be fair? You got your starting five. You got Trey Mann. You got J-Dub. You got Kenny Hustle.
Ooh,
maybe like a Mike Muscala. So like, I think
10.
he's like your 10th, 11th, 12th guy. Probably isn't playing every night. You got Poku. Kamira, you mentioned he knows his role. He sticks to it. He goes to where he's supposed to. I was going to say that sounds like the complete opposite of another player on this team that we talk about a lot, who maybe needs that reality check a little bit. Needs to stick to those few things. So, interesting point. So our four guys that if they pop next year, we think the Thunder are really pushing forward are J-Dub, JRE, Chet Holmgren, Josh Giddey.
So basically, we all expect Shea to drop 30 a night, and we just need the guys around him to do some good jobs, and you're looking pretty good.
Yeah,
Honestly, yeah.
Precisely.
I think Shea will look better next year with a center like Chet on the floor.
Could not agree more.
That's a lot of
better
with a center like Chet on the floor.
I'm not going to do this on the podcast right now. Maybe I'll look it up and tweet it out later. I would be interested to see like the offensive efficiency of the two-man lineup of Shea and Mike Muscala. Whenever Shea doesn't have a guy like Derek Favors on the court, whenever he's got a strictly pick and pop type of guy, like I think my assumption is if I look that up, it's going to be absurd. And now you're basically giving Shea a younger, more versatile Mike Muscala. Like, I think it's going to help his offensive numbers a lot.
Yep.
Silva, let's tell the people about the sponsors for the week before we move on to our final segment. What's up, Thunder fans? This is Jacob from the Uncontested podcast, and I'm here to let you know that we have fully redesigned our merch store to get you best Thunder swag available. Just visit cottonbureau.com and search the Uncontested podcast to find all of our new designs. That's cottonbureau.com and search the Uncontested podcast to find new drops like Josh Giddey's Wizard of Oz or an ode to the Trey Mann Step Back. We've also got all the classics like Dortal Combat, Liu Tang Clan, and everyone's favorite MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The best part? You can get any design and the style of apparel you want. So if you're gearing up for the summer and want a tank top, needing a hoodie for the winter in Australia, or you're wanting a Pokemon onesie for your baby, we've got you covered. Make sure to go to cottonbureau.com and search the Uncontested podcast to get your new Thunder gear today. And we are back. Gentlemen, we're going to close out this show with an old school uncontested game of this or that. One of my favorite ones. Very simple. Huh? We haven't done this one in a while. We kind of started this one early on in the podcast. Sometimes I think about a lot of our old segments that we used to do that we don't do anymore.
We should. And there's other old schools like the movie with Will Ferrell. It's a good one.
I haven't watched that movie in a long time.
There's an old school bagel cafe being
that is true.
Summer and I ate there on Saturday.
Right near my house in the morning. Yeah.
Slap.
I'm about to have a
Meat
massive.
lovers bagel on everything.
What is wrong with you people? Cinnamon raisin with cream cheese and a cold brew, which is just straight black, is the way to
Agreed.
go in the mornings.
Okay,
Come on.
I got you on the cold brew. Cold brew.
Cold blue.
The cold blue. Code blue.
You're my boy, Blue.
Isn't Code Blue when like an old person with dementia goes missing?
No, it's
It's either that or
That's
a Mountain Dew.
silver
flavor.
alert.
Oh, that's a
alert,
silver alert.
alert.
That's right. That's right.
Silva alert.
All right. So
Did you say code blue because were you thinking that because you think old people have blue hair?
what?
What?
I don't know
No.
what's happening right now.
I do like the idea of a Silva alert, though.
Silva alert.
Yeah, I don't know what that would be for. or-
Silva's done
It's just when
something like
Silva
thinking-
does some crazy shit, like eats somebody else's food or thinks people are ziplining in the middle of Las
Yeah,
Vegas at
the
2 a.m.
Silva alert.
Like,
oh,
I'm-
did you guys go down
Oh,
Fremont?
No, I just
They were airplanes.
Fremont was, yeah, Fremont was within my head the entire vacation. Coming on.
All right, this or
You see
that.
some
Very
weird things,
simple.
bro.
I'm going to give you two options. You tell me, are you taking this, the first option, or that, the second option? We're going to rapid fire through these. Taylor, this or that? The higher
That.
shooting percentage from three, Trey Mann or Jalen Williams, a.k.a. J-Dub?
Ooh. So I'm going J-Dub here, which would be that in this case. Is that
Okay.
correct? Because I think he's going to be more limited attempts. He'll be efficient. I think his college resume speaks for itself there. And in regards to his spot up 3-point percentage, we've talked a lot about that. I think it was like 40-something%, which was ridiculous, just off the top of my head, compared to Trey Mann, who obviously gets a lot of his 3-point attempts off of self-creation and therefore is a lower percentage. So I think that's kind of our answer there.
All right. Kamiar, this or that? The player that's playing more NBA games this season, Alexei Pokashevsky or Usman Jang?
More NBA games?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
That is tough.
That's tough because
That's really
there's
tough.
two halves of a season, you know? Because you got like the first half, but then there's that second half. Oh, tell me it's Poku for me. Usman, I think, will get a lot of early burn with the blue. I think Poku, I think you'll see this year out, but you could see a severe drop off towards the end if they don't plan to extend him. But I don't think the amount of games Usman will be able to get into this year will make for it, unless Presti and those dudes really want Usman on the floor, which they clearly do. They jumped up and got him. They bought him with picks, so they think that highly of him to go grab him ahead of J-Dub. Who knows?
Silva,
But I'm gonna guess. Yeah.
you're going Poku.
Yep.
Silva, this or that on who averages more blocks per game next season, Chet Holmgren or Evan Mobley? For
This one's
reference,
also tough.
Evan Mobley averaged 1.7 blocks per game last year.
That feels low.
Okay. I'm gonna go Chet, not because I'm a homer, but because I think Evan Mobley's role is just gonna be different on the Cavs. His main role, I feel like, is not shot blocker. He has Jared Allen behind him. Chet's gonna be playing next to a smaller thickman like a JRE. So yeah, no, I think Chet's gonna average between 2 and 2.5.
What?
The phrase
Well,
smaller
you said-
thickman.
You said Thickman.
The smaller thickman.
Is that a word?
I just made it
is
up, so
now.
it's a word now.
Okay.
I'm also kind of
We are
developing this.
using that moving forward.
Yeah, I'm also like creating a rivalry within me between Chet and Evan Mobley because the Thunder tried to get Evan the year before, missed out on it.
Silva
got
now
so-
hates Evan Mobley with
Like,
a
you're right.
passion.
I hate Mobley. I hate Şengün.
Silva alert.
Bring on the next one.
Silver alert.
Taylor, who is more likely to make the playoffs? The Brooklyn Nets or the New York Knicks?
So sadly, this is also an easy one for me, which means I'm either going to look like a genius or an idiot this time next year. And I'm saying the Nets because Well, I think it's the most likely situation where KD at least begins the season with the Nets, and therefore they're going to be better. And the Knicks are the Knicks. I also think like if a trade were to come to fruition, but with Kevin Durant, they're going to get a very solid player like Jaylen Brown, for example. So you'll see a low hanging fruit there, and therefore they're going to be a very competitive and solid team. They're likely to make the playoffs. We saw them bring in some of the guys like. Who did they just sign? Was it PJ Tucker? Who am I thinking of that the Nets just signed? I'm drawing a blank.
Signed or traded for?
Oh, no, TJ Warren. TJ Warren.
Yeah,
That's
they
something.
signed
Not
TJ
PJ
Warren.
Tucker. Thinking of TJ Warren. Regardless, all of that being said, I think they will. They're probably going to be, even if they trade KD, they're going to be in that play-in playoff range. So I'm going the Nets.
All right.
Still not sold on the Knicks.
Call me R. This or that on more likely to happen next season. Ja Morant gets MVP or SGA is an all-star?
That's fun. Here's the issue with that.
This or that, call me R.
The Grizzlies. People forget the Grizzlies were the number 2 seed in the West last year.
True.
People forget. There's, of course, they're going to be a little bit more different. Man, there are so many good guards in the West. That Donovan Mitchell stuff is really messing my stuff up. I would say it's right now, as it stands, it's far more likely that Shea is an all-star than Ja Morant is an MVP, just out of the idea that there are still so many great superstars, like Jokic, who's won several MVPs, Giannis, who's won a couple MVPs. That there are two, like Katie's still playing at a really high level. You got Braun still playing at a high level somehow. Joel
The probability
Embiid,
that Shea makes
Davis,
an all-star is higher than
it's so much more probable that he makes it, just because he has only half the league to compete with, and he's better than several of those people in half that league or in the division, excuse me. So I would say it's much more likely that Shea makes that all-star appearance.
I like that.
I agree.
Silva, this or that on who starts more games next season? Jeremiah Robinson Earl or Darius Baisley?
Oh my God!
Another
It better be Jeremiah Robinson Earl, or I'm gonna be in jail by the end of the season.
Silva alert!
Yeshua Silva alert!
We need a sender.
Please, for the love of God, I'm tired of the Baisley experience at this point. I don't want it. I don't let him play on the bench. It's fine. I don't need it. I don't want it. I want JRE and I want his butt rock goatee in that starting lineup.
Silva
You want the little thick men out there?
Silva is drinking haterade. You said butt rock goatee.
My favorite part was that I want his and then a pause.
Silva's
on one
hater
tonight,
right
man.
now.
I also just think it makes more sense to start a bigger, stronger JRE than it does next to Chet than it does a slimmer Darius Baisley. But that's just me.
That is also a
Agree
great
with all the above.
Taylor, this or that on more likely to happen next season?
Ooh.
Josh Giddey shoots 35% from 3 on the year. That's the this. The that is Ben Simmons makes more than 5 total 3-pointers. For reference,
I
Ben
don't like
Simmons
this.
has made 5 3-pointers in his career.
So I have
and
this.
before
that,
you answer
none of the
this,
above.
before you answer this, I want you to know that JD and I
You a
were
hater too.
we're prepping these pre-pod, and JD said, should we do one like Josh Giddey shoots 35% or Ben Simmons like makes 33s? And I was like, Silva, he hasn't even attempted 33s in his career.
I was
We
trying to
looked
give
it
him
up.
some credit.
Hey,
That's
this
a good
man,
point.
this
He's
man-
attempted 32
Yeah.
threes in 4 seasons.
The first time this man airballs a 3, which will be the first attempt, he ain't taking another one for the rest of the season. That's an easy one, but it's not mine. So you go ahead.
I mean, based off to your guys' point, been very limited from 3. Second of all, his availability to even play a single minute of basketball on an NBA court in general, I feel like my odds are pretty heavily favored in regards to Giddey shooting 35% from 3. Now, while I don't think Giddey will shoot 35% from 3, I will use this as a bit of a Giddey, or an insight into how I think Giddey will improve this season. I do see that percentage going up. Yes, we have the new shooting coach. We've talked a lot about that. We're excited about that. But just in general, I think that percentage would trend up as well this season as Giddey maybe finds a little more efficiency on a more limited attempts. We talked a little bit about that with some of these other guys like Chet getting more shot attempts. All that to say, I think Giddey's probably. I'll take this.
Yeah, I think Ben Simmons lets off the court talk about him affect his play on the court, where like you see the greats actually they ignore that. I think it actually affects his play on the court.
That I like,
including his shot. It's a good point.
He used to have that dog in him, but there's a lost dog poster up for Ben Simmons. The dog is gone.
Let me just say,
I feel sad when I see those.
Let me just say, if Josh is shooting 35% from 3 next season, Chip England is performing like dark sorceries in the basement of the Paycom Center.
If Josh shoots 35% from 3 next season, this team is not getting a lottery pick.
Right.
I feel pretty strongly about that. Hey, I'm all in on like walking down into the bowels of the Paycom Center, which maybe won't be the Thunder Arena like in, it probably like takes 7 years. I don't know.
Still.
But just see Chip England down there with a bunch of candles and a big pentagram drawn on the floor, and
pulling a Doctor Strange, and
Josh
whatever
is laying in the middle of it, all spread out. Sign me up. Make that the album of my death metal band.
I hope he's clothed.
Whatever it takes.
Josh, maybe it'll be like the Instagram picture.
You telling me Joe Lacob hasn't done that?
He'll be DMing that to Trey Man's mom, or not mom,
Oh
grandma.
my God.
Call me or you get the last this or that.
Jacob alert.
Who ends the season with the better record? The Orlando Magic or the Detroit Pistons?
Oh, that's fun. It'll be the Magic.
Interesting. The Magic actually are below Detroit in current NBA over-unders on betonline.ag, but only by like a game. So I think the Magic are going to be interesting.
I really like Wagner, the good one of the brothers. And I really like the high floor that Banchero already brings to this game. And of course, all the other pieces that they have assembled in Orlando. I think they're better.
Yeah, they're also a little bit older. When you look at Detroit, like the main things you're looking at are guys like Cade and Jaden Ivey and why am I going blank? Why am I going blank on the big man they just drafted out of Memphis?
Duren,
Jalen Duren.
Yeah,
and Ivy. Whereas the Magic have a little more established guys. They have Fultz, they have Jalen Suggs, they have Wendell Carter Jr.,
Terrence Ross, Gary Harris,
Jonathan
Isaac.
Yeah,
maybe.
I wouldn't. If I was a Magic fan and someone told me to hold my breath for Jonathan Isaac, I'd be dead a long time ago. So that guy hasn't played basketball in like 25 months now.
Yeah.
Like,
he wrote a book.
Still play basketball?
He wrote a book. He's attended some certain conferences.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
And that's more than 24 months.
All right. Any other thoughts before we get out here, guys? We should probably hit the comments real quick. Do you guys have like 3 minutes to hit the comments?
I got 3. I got 3 minutes for the comments.
3 minutes. I got it.
They do not look like Zaza Pachulia. So F you, whoever said that.
Carrie says he's got a June 25th Christmas half birthday. That's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. Bryson McGowan is feeling for Taylor as he's a December 20th baby. What else? Meek Leak asks, what do you think about Chet and Paulo's friendship? Did they know each other before the draft? They're obviously tight. I thought it was kind of interesting, like, that Chet even played in that Pro-Am. because Chet is
loved
from
it.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
And that was a Seattle
Paulo's from
pro-am.
Seattle, but I guess isn't Gonzaga out there close to
true.
Seattle?
Spokane. Yeah. No,
Good
not
point.
Spokane. Is it Spokane? Oregon?
I thought you were right there.
I think it is.
It's definitely Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I think that's right. Justin Perryman says Bull Russell. I think
Spokane.
that's
You
supposed to
called
be
it. You got
Bill
it, Kanye.
Russell. Is friend of Clay Bennett, introduced Clay at the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. So that's pretty cool. What else do
That
we
is
have
cool.
in here? Joseph says Chet should be a power forward on offense and center on defense.
Ooh.
I like
I think
that.
he might play kind
I
of.
might think it might be reverse.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It might be reverse though.
I think it might be the reverse.
Meek Leak says, "Did you guys see that highlight clip from Darius Baisley?" Nope.
No, I did not. I apparently need to get on Twitter and find it.
I know he's been playing the Drew League.
Carrie
That's all I
also says when we were talking about the NBA streaming, like the Drew League and the crossover, streaming some of those closed door pickup games that happen out at Summer League where all the actual NBA stars play in. The same type of pickup game that was at the end of Hustle on Netflix. I would pay a lot of money to watch something like that. Any other good ones in here? Danny agrees with Kamiar that a guy that would have to pop would be Jeremiah Robinson Earl. I think that's a good one. Marcus Kruger thinks Chet should just pull a Trae Young and start chucking it.
Yes.
Marcus also asks if the Thunder can borrow Schmitty from OU.
Chet would not make it out alive from
No,
that
he would not.
camp. I can attest
He
to
would
that
literally
very
be
well.
snapped in half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gosh, that'd
Marcus
be
had
fun.
the Spokane, however
Yeah.
you pronounce
So
that.
Pacific Northwest is maybe. Just like
Carrie
that.
says it's about 3 hours away from Seattle.
Okay.
And River says Shea is the greatest NBA player of all time.
Maybe
Can't argue
Now
with
we're
that.
talking.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
There we
Yeah,
go.
Many
Awesome.
tricks is very good.
All right, let's get out of here. Guys, thank you so much for joining the show tonight. We had a lot of people in the live stream as usual. We really appreciate that. It means a ton to us. If you're downloading the podcast version, thank you. We're actually all out of stickers. You guys snatched them all up with those 5-star ratings. We will get some more stickers in, and then we will start to do the stickers for 5-star ratings again. We will tweet out those stickers whenever we get them. Maybe some more merch on the way. It would be exclusively pre-order stuff, so be on the lookout for that because Justin is a damn wizard. If anyone's doing black sorcery, it's probably Justin Peabody. Hopefully not with that new baby, though. Shout out to Justin. Third baby. He didn't do anything. His wife did all the work, but shout out to Justin anyways. And his
I mean, he
family
had to
friend-
do a little something.
Well, I think he said it was the pumpkin pie that did that work for him. So
Oh, here we go.
we'll be on Twitter Spaces Monday night.
Holy
Join us
cannoli.
there. Follow us on Twitter if you haven't already. We're also on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. Sub on the YouTube channel. We'll talk to you guys soon. Until then, as always, thunder up.